Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Quick message before the program starts. Now, if you want all the recipes from my brand new Italian cookery series, you've got one simple thing to do. We've created an ebook. We've pulled all the recipes together. I've dug deep into my archive and found some amazing images of when we spent loads of time in Italy. We've put it all together as a team in an ebook for you. All you have to do is write free book in the comments now. It will then open up into Facebook Messenger. Follow the instructions and it will automatically deliver you the PDF version of our ebook of Peter Sidwell's Kitchen, A Taste of Italy. It's really simple. We'll put it down the side here, follow the instructions, and you'll get the book. Save it wherever you like, on your tablet, on your phone, or on your computer, and you've got it. Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today's episode is part 4 of our Italian series. We are going to cook the most delicious cinghiale, which is a wild boar ragu. It's going to have some fennel, garlic. It's going to have olives, pasta dish. It is delicious. Now, Tuscany is my spiritual home. I love it. It's my happy place. From a food point of view, it is just amazing. The ingredients out there and the cooking is unbelievable. So if you are thinking of going on holiday to Italy, absolutely go. I know you're going, aren't you, Emily?
Yep.
It's on your hit list, isn't it? I've got a few little places that you have to visit on your way and they will surprise you. Right, so first off, cinghiale. So it's a wild boar ragu. Wild boar is all over Tuscany, and it is almost their sort of one of their most iconic dishes, and it is blooming delicious, honestly. So good. Now, if you can't get wild boar, and I fully appreciate not many people can, go for a shoulder of pork. Now, I've got some here. Okay, so I've got my shoulder of pork. Now, I've cut it in half, because I wanted to make sure that I cooked one half ready for you to see, and then I'll show you how I did it. So what I'm going to do is take the string away, and we're going to take the outer skin off because I don't need it for this recipe. Okay, so just with a sharp knife, just score that skin away. You could buy diced shoulder of pork from the butcher's if you wanted to, no problem. But just hold the skin and just cut it away. Because we're not roasting this, we're going to stew this dish down. This is why we want to get rid of the outer skin. But don't get rid of too much of the fat, because that'll help keep it nice and moist. There we go. If you really wanted to, you could salt that and whack that in the oven. Get some nice crackling. It's up to you.
If you can get your hands on wild boar, which part do you use?
Shoulder. So exactly the same. I mean,
yeah.
It is a pig. It's the original pig.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and the only thing with wild boar is it's a little bit stronger in flavour. The meat's a little darker.
Yeah.
And it's a little richer. But it is, yeah, you can get it. And in fact, in Kendal, I live in the Lake District. So, but if you go down to Kendal, the very south, just outside the Lake District National Park, there's a farm called Silfield Farm, and that is owned and run by Peter Gott, who's quite a famous foodie butcher, and he used to have a stand down at Borough Market, and he farms wild boar. You can also get wild boar in the New Forest in Gloucestershire. It's quite famous there. So there is some about, but not a lot. But if you're not sure, just go for a really good shoulder of pork. Right, I'm going to cut this into steaks, so about 2 centimetres thick, okay? Because I want it to cook and I want lots of surface area, but I don't want it to be, I don't want one massive big chunk. I've got lots of surface area now. Okay, just wash my hands very quickly. Right, where's my tea towel? There it is. Right. Now remember, if you've got any questions at all about today's recipes, post them in the comments below. If you want today's recipes, scan the QR code or go to petersidwell.com and it will take you to our website and you can get all the recipes there. And remember, if you want to get a little sneaky peek at a new cookbook that we're all working on as a team, type in the comments "free book" and your Facebook Messenger will launch and it'll go through a series of questions to make sure you're happy to share your Facebook Messenger, and in return we will give you a preview. Is it 20 recipes you've...
Yep.
Emily's very much working on this project. It is her project to pull together my recipes, her images, Carlos' images. We've edited it all together, but it's very much a team project. But if you want the first 20 recipes, you're very welcome to them. Right, so I need a little bit of olive oil on here. And then we are going to season this pork up. So, really important. There we go. Just put the hob on, get your pan preheated. I've got a shallow 4 litre, Emily?
Yep.
4 litre, our brand new colour. So there are 3 new colours. Now what I'm going to do is ask Carlos to post an image down the side of the 3 new colours that Masterclass have brought out for the pans. There's blue, white and red. I like the blue. It's my favourite. What's your favourite?
Cream.
You're the creamy white colour. And yeah, so take your pick. Right. Plenty of salt, okay? Because we want to draw the moisture out. Some black pepper. And then we're going to hit it with fennel seeds. Now, pork and fennel, oh my God, it's just like it just typifies Tuscany. They have a salami called finacuna, which is a Tuscan salami.
I've tried that before, it's so good.
It is so good, isn't it? I'm so jealous you're going to Italy this year. So, fennel, salt, pepper, olive oil, and then just flip them over and do the same again on that side, okay? So we've got fennel seeds. There we go. If you haven't got fennel seeds, get them because they make it amazing. All right. If you can't get fennel seeds, I would maybe just go a little bit of tarragon and you might almost the same, but not quite. But honestly, you can get them, if you can't get them in your local shops, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them online. They're really, really good, really useful for all sorts of things. I like to put them through bread and all sorts of stuff. They're brilliant, great with fish. Right. Wash my hands. How's your new camera angles, Emily? You enjoying them?
Yep.
Hopefully you are as well. We've got another new camera angle, nice motorised one to the side of me, so you get to see all the good stuff. Right, okay, preheated pan, ready to go. So let's grab some tongs. Right, pork in. There we go. Now we've got oil on the pork, so we don't need to put oil in the pan, okay? So oil and season your ingredients. Don't oil and season the pan. Right, let's have a little look at this pork. Nearly there, okay? So let that have a couple more minutes. It's really important that you get good, serious colour on the pork because that's where your flavour is going to really develop and you're going to get depth of flavour. So do not be afraid to give it a really good caramelisation before you turn it over. I haven't touched that. I haven't turned it over. Nothing. Let it sit. Let the salt draw the moisture out and let it sear and caramelise. Then you get big flavour. Right, while that's happening, onion, nice and finely chopped. Because this is going to become our pasta sauce as well. So you want it all to sort of just blend together. You don't want great big chunks of onion.
Can you use a red onion in this if you've got...
You could, if that's all you've got, yeah, use a red onion. If you really like the fennel flavour, you could add some chopped fennel bulb in there as well if you wanted to. You know, if you're in the summer and you've got a load of fennel growing in the garden, use it. But onion just sort of gives you that good, solid foundation of flavour. And we want to build the flavour up, because this is going to sit in the oven and tick over and just build big flavours. And that's what Tuscan food is all about. It's like using what you've got when you've got it, but make it as good as you can. So cut the garlic, just cut it so that you end up, can you see that, Emily?
Yeah.
I haven't cut it in half, I've kind of cut it 2/3 in and just removed the top, okay? And that's ready to go in. And then I have got a tin of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, they're ready to go in, and some Chianti. You want to use Chianti. It's the right wine to use for the right dish, all right? It's got big flavour in it, it's quite a bold red wine, and it's delicious.
What if you can't either get your hands on it or you don't have it?
You just want to go for something like a Merlot, something like that, that's a bit more bold and big flavoured. You don't want like Pinot Noir is too light and crisp.
Yeah.
You want something gutsy. Go for an Italian red, basically,
Right.
if you can. Right, so we'll turn this pork over. That's it. Nice. Right.
Oh, it smells really good, that.
It's the pork and fennel. It's such a good flavour. Right, we're going to get that garlic in. I'm going to put that face down. And then the pork that's got the colour on, just lift it up out of the way for a minute. So that I've got some pan. I can see some bottom of the saucepan. Because I want the onions to caramelise. There's no point just chucking them on top of the pork, because they're not going to cook, they're not going to, we're not going to get the best out of them. So just push your onions in there, and we'll just let that carry on cooking for a few more minutes. Is that all right there?
Yeah.
Lovely.
So, would it taste different to say like how you mince garlic?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to let that garlic cook whole in the sauce, in the wine, and then we're going to squeeze it out at the end, and it's going to be delicious. It's going to be mellow, and it's just going to add that layer of flavour that it would pretty much disappear in the cooking process, I think, if you chopped it up.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, you get rich, mellow, soft garlic, and it really works well. And it's one less job for you to do, isn't it?
So you would get a very different flavour.
I think to some extent you're going to get a different flavour, yeah. So you can see the onions are just starting to sort of take the colour at the bottom of the pan, the little pork juices. So I'm just, again, the great thing with these pans is they're so non-stick. You can just make a space there. And then when I take our Chianti, are we ready for this, Emily?
Yes, we are now.
Yeah.
Right.
So the onions are in, the garlic's turned over, and I've made a space there in the pan. So when the wine hits the bottom of that, it bubbles up straight away. We get rid of the alcohol. So we don't want the alcohol, we just want the flavour. Boom.
Whoa.
Nice. Right. So there, our wine is in. And then in with our tomatoes. So a tin of chopped tomatoes, and then we're just going to fill this up with water, about half full, just to get all the excess out. Just give it a little stir, and then in that goes. And then I've got one of these little stock cubes. I like to use beef stock with this dish because I just think it's got more depth, it's got more guts, it's got more flavour. But if you want to use a chicken stock cube, that's absolutely fine. It's entirely up to you. Don't really get pork stock cubes, don't know why.
No.
I mean, you can make pork stock if you really want to, but it's not something that I come across very often. But chicken stock will do, vegetable stock if that's all you've got. But you just want that layer of flavour in. Now, take the pork and submerge it now. And make sure it is sat at the bottom of the pan. Okay? And that garlic wants to stay under there because we don't want the garlic to dry out at all. We want it to just get really sweet and poach in the wine and the fennel and the garlic.
Smells so good.
So what we'll now do is we're just going to bring that up to the boil. and then we're going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to whack it in the oven at 160 degrees, and I'm going to let it sit there and cook for 2 to 3 hours. Now, if you've got a slow cooker, put it in the slow cooker, no problem at all. 6 hours, medium heat, and it'll be amazing. You could also leave it on the hob and let it tick over if you prefer. But with these new pans, can you see these little dimples in these pan lids? That stops all the moisture disappearing, because if you see the evaporation there, that's the water coming out. If you just left no lid on there, it would boil dry. Whereas if you put a lid on, it captures all the moisture and circulates it back into the food. So if I put that on there now, we're not going to lose any of the liquid. And then all we need to do is just transfer it into the oven. Okay, so if I do that, that up there. There we go. (160 degrees). That pork will just tick away there nicely. It's going to take 2 to 3 hours, and the best way to tell is if the actual meat is tender. If it's tender, it's ready, okay? I'm going to give mine 2 to 3 hours. I've made one earlier to show you because I wanted to just keep going because I've got loads to show with you this episode. Right, pan of boiling water. We're going to make some pasta, okay? Now, it's really important that you cook pasta in salted boiling water, okay? And you need to pick a pan that's a decent size. There's no point trying to squeeze a load of pasta in. I think the recipe says 400 grams, so that will feed 4 people easily. I've got 200 grams here, so it's going to feed 2 people, just for the purposes of the program. But yeah, you need a big pan. Your pasta needs to bounce around in lots of salted boiling water. Okay, so in it goes. Give it a twist, and then just let it open out as you drop it, okay? And then it will just start to soften, and it will drop into the water, and it needs 9 minutes, all right? Don't overcook your pasta, otherwise it becomes very starchy. And actually, when you've eaten it, you feel a lot heavier and fuller and sluggish, whereas if you cook your pasta to al dente, it's much easier for the digestive system as well, you know, and it's more of a slow release energy. There you go. There's my science bit.
Is there, because me and you talked about this the other day, obviously different types of pasta almost changes the dish, doesn't it? Is there certain pastas you wouldn't use for this if you can't get your hands on a certain
I get into trouble with Italians all the time about this because they are very particular about what sauce should go with what pasta. Whereas I don't mind really. I tend to buy pasta that I fancy and I like the look of.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same.
I mean, if I was in Tuscany, I would probably have it with pappardelle, or I would have it with pisci, which is like hand-rolled, like thick spaghetti.
Oh, right.
The Tuscans do. When you go, you'll see it. I always remember I went to a restaurant and I had porcini and truffle pisci, and it was amazing. So good. It is just one of those dishes. And I remember one time I had pappardelle with hare and red wine. It's delicious. And it's one of those restaurants you went to and they were full when we got there. So they got a table and they put it out in the car park. Didn't matter because we were out looking over the hills in Tuscany and the sun was out and a nice glass of wine, and it didn't matter.
I reckon car parks are a little bit different over there.
Yeah. It was just one of those very, very amazing meals. The ones that you remember forever kind of thing, and it was lovely. I think it was on my 30th birthday when we first went together to Tuscany. It was good. It was a good holiday, that one. Right, pasta's in. That pasta's going to take 9 minutes, okay? So try not taste it. That is the best way, all right? You know, and particularly if you buy a very authentic Italian pasta, sometimes it takes just a little bit longer to cook than I'm saying 9 minutes. If you've bought supermarket economy spaghetti, it will be cooked probably in 8 because it cooks a lot quicker, okay? So lift a piece out after 9 minutes, taste it, make sure it's all right. Right, I'm just gonna swap it over because I wanna show you this ragu. Okay. Right, so This ragu, I cooked one earlier. So when I said I had the shoulder of pork, I cut it in half. So it was a 2 kilo piece. I cut it in half and I've done a piece now that's in the oven, and I did this earlier, okay? So 1 kilo shoulder of pork will easily feed 4, if not, I think it'll probably serve, I think it would serve 8. I think there's double portions in here, personally, but it depends on your appetite. Okay, so here we go. Now, do you remember that whole piece of garlic that we put in? Here he is. Look, completely held its shape. It's all there. Let me just get rid of the onions off the top. There it is. Can you see that all right, Emily?
Yeah.
That bad boy's going straight back in there, and this is how. Can you see this all right?
Yeah. Oh,
look at that. Just squeeze it like toothpaste, and out pops these incredible garlic cloves.
And we just need with that, Pete, just a big crusty burden.
Well, I might be able to help you with that, Emily. Look, let me get you a little piece so you can try it just as it is. Honestly, it's just... I've got some croutons here. In fact, I'm not letting you try this on your own. So, just get a bit of that garlic there. Get a bit of that bad boy. Have a try of that.
Thank you. Whoa.
Put 2 bulbs in just so that you can take one out and do this. Oh my goodness. You can't speed that up. You've just got to let it cook low and slow. And then it just disappears into it. It's gone. I've stirred it in. Right, let's have a look at this pork. See, can you see, Emily, how I'm just breaking that pork up now? With a spoon, that's how tender it is. Just break it up.
It almost seems just like one of those dishes that you put in the middle of the table. And you...
Don't invite anyone and eat it all for yourself. Now, do you know what? The more you can do, the bigger the portion as well, the better, because I think this will definitely serve more than 4 people because it's rich. Okay? So let me show you. Can you see this pork here?
Yeah.
So all we need to do is that. Oof. You see how it just breaks up like that? Because we've chosen the right cut for the right job. So there's no good choosing like leg of pork because it will dry out. There's no good choosing loin of pork. It will dry out. You need shoulder. Try that, Emily. I'll give it a little dip.
Oh, thanks. Being well fed today, aren't
you? Try a bit of that. But it just melts away, and the idea is that we just make this lovely, it's like ragu, like a meat sauce. It's just tender, isn't it?
Oh.
Okay. That's cooked, that's ready. That's batch cooking done. All we're now waiting for is our spaghetti. But what I'm going to add is some olives, green pitted olives, because I think they're just going to be absolutely delicious in there. And then, not very Italian, but about 50 grams of butter. And Emily, I must remember to put this on the recipe because I just thought of it when I saw it. Pop 50 grams of butter in. Italians don't use butter much, not really. But I think the difference it makes when you add it is just incredible, because what will happen is as I stir that in, I mean that just looks so nice.
That looks really good.
That butter melting away, the olives, you get like a little sort of salty brininess from the olives. You've got the richness from the meat, the tomatoes, the wine. Oh, it's going to be good, this. So good. That butter has just melted away and just taken the sauce from there to there with that one simple ingredients. Okay, so that is ready. Let me put that to one side. Let me get a pan. Straight on the pan there, and I'm just going to get some of this sauce out. Oh, we've got beeping going on. It's all right. Right. So, take a ladle of your sauce. So imagine you've batch cooked this. All right. In it goes. Don't be afraid of chunks of meat. It'll all break down and just coat So I'm going to do 2 portions. Here we go. Let's get that hot and ready for our pasta. My tongs ready. I'm going to take a little bit of my pasta water, because this is the magic stuff. So half a ladle of pasta water, that's full of starch. Bring that to boil. All right. Got myself a plate. Now it's just reducing down that tiny little bit. Let's take our pasta and in it goes. Now, let's just give that a little toss. Oh, I'm making a mess. Where's my cloth? So now what you'll find is the sauce is just starting to coat itself on the pasta, and this is what's going to make the dish amazing. This is what's going to make a pasta dish, like take a sauce and a pasta and put the two together. Okay? Now, let's take some, serve it up. You ready for a taste, Emily?
Yeah. This looks so good.
You'll be having this, or a version of, when you go to Italy.
Oh.
I promise.
Cannot wait.
You'll think of me, briefly. Right.
Make sure to send you a picture.
Yeah, don't bother. Right, we'll give that a little wipe. Just turn that off. Ooh. And then I think it just needs a little bit of pecorino cheese. Now, pecorino, you find it all over Italy, and sort of every region makes a version of pecorino. It's slightly saltier, I would say, than Parmesan. It's just as delicious. And it's starting to become quite common, and you can get it most places now. But there you go. That is how to make my Tuscan cinghiale, which is a pork ragu. Traditionally wild boar, but this one's made with pork. And honestly, I'm just going to test this, Emily, before you do, just to make sure it's safe. Sure. So good.
Leave some for me.
Now, if you want the recipe, scan the QR code below or go to petersidwell.com. You will get the recipe there, or you can download our free app, which is in the App Store, and you get all our recipes. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends and family. Make it for your friends and family and tell them where you got the recipe from. But thank you very much for watching. Remember, if you want the preview of our new cookbook, type free book in the comments below and it will take you through the process, and you will get the first 20 recipes for free. A little insight onto what's coming. But thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next episode.